I think that you should not do a Hindu wedding ceremony, a Vivah Sanskar, unless you watch this video. What is a Vivah Sanskar? Why is it done with such precision, with such care? Why does it take such a long time? Over a week sometimes to be done. Well, let's talk all about it. My pranam to all of you, and welcome to this discussion on Vivah Sanskar. I want to preface my discussion or this video by telling you that some of you may be offended with what I have to say. But as a faith leader, spiritual leader, and as a pandit who practices our dharma, it is my duty to educate you on how rituals, practices, and procedures are conducted in the Hindu system. If you're offended by this, then it is never my intent to do so. Because many of us today, especially in the Hindu faith, do a lot of things. We don't understand many of the things, the meaning of the things that we do, but we do it anyway. Well, is it your fault or not? I don't know, and I'm not here to make that judgment. But I'm here to educate you and help us start a discussion and to help us create some visibility on some important things that are happening in our community. The Hindu wedding ceremony is one of the main 16 Hindu sanskars that we have. From prenatal sanskar, Garbhadhan, SIMANTOYA, NAMKARAN, Jatakarma, ANNAPRASHNA, Karnaveda, Yajnaopaveet sanskar, and so on. From all of that, we have as well Vivah Sanskar. A sanskar is a ceremony performed not only as a formality to mark an occasion, but to commemorate the beginning of something new in your life. It is also one step further, not only to commemorate the beginning of something new, but to prepare you for a significant step in your life, a new step. If we go prior to birth, prior to even conception happening in a human being, there's Garbhadhan Sanskar, where we pray that may the womb and be strong enough to accept a child, to bring that child into this world. We have SIMANTOYA Sanskar, which occurs in approximately the 3rd trimester in pregnancy. That is done to bring calmness to the mother. That's where the combing of the hair ceremony is done. The husband combs the hair and brushes the hair of the wife. After birth, we have NAMKARAN Sanskar, naming the child. Then we have Chudakaran Sanskar. Then we have ANNAPRASHNA Sanskar. And we can go on. All of it is done to prepare this beautiful form of life to blossom into this world. We just cannot give birth to a child and expect them to survive and to just be raised by themselves. That is how animals are brought up. Right? Animals can survive. If a dog gives birth to his puppies, whether they're attended to or not, they can find food and live off of whatever they're surrounded by. But not a human being. A human being needs attention, care, love, emotionally and physically. So these sanskars are set up to help you mold your life to become a better person in every step we take. The Vivah Sanskar is an extremely significant sanskar. Now, this does not, of course, degrade or put any of the other sanskars down. But why is this one so significant? It is extremely significant because the Vivah Sanskar is when you are now going to take all the preparations that you have had with the previous sanskaras, all the grooming, all the education, all the disciplines you've had, the practices you've had in your previous, years, you're now going to take that and you're going to give that over. You're going to multiply that now to let it blossom into something beautiful called life. Vivah Sanskar brings two people together. Vivah Sanskar brings two families together. Vivah Sanskar, the wedding ceremony, brings two lineages together. A Hindu wedding ceremony is just not a celebration with dances and other things. It is an extremely significant event where we are calling the names of the ancestors at the ceremony itself, to acknowledge them and to gain their blessings to move forward in a positive direction. What happens in a wedding ceremony? The first thing that happens is, well, there are 4 things that constitute a wedding, which is Nandi Shrad, Satyanarayan Katha, Matikor, and Sanskar, Vivaha Sanskar. These 4 things are done in order to prepare one to complete that step in the Vivaha Sanskar stage. Starting with Nandi Shrad. Nandi Shrad is done to honor the ancestors. About a week before the wedding, the priest, along with the father of those who are getting married, would sit and they will offer tarpan. The tarpan bidhi is read, yamastuti is read, the names of the ancestors are called, and there are different ways of doing it. So all of that is done. Dakshina is given to brahmanas, food is given to people. Nandi Shrad is done to bring the presence of the ancestors in the environment. For this 1 week, it is called a consecration process, where the priest, along with the family, do all the activities required to ensure that that space where the wedding is going to be kept is purified and is charged with all the divine energies. So now you've welcomed the ancestors, you've had their blessings, that is done. The second thing that is done, Satyanarayan Katha, where the family sits together as a family unit and they pray to Bhagwan Satyanarayan to first of all give thanks. Bhagwan, you have blessed us with a family, with a daughter, with a son, or whoever. And today we ask you to extend that blessing to our child or children so that they may embrace Vivaha Sanskar, they may embrace the institution of marriage, Grihastha Ashram, and they may have the same family, blessed and togetherness as we have. We perform Satyanarayan Katha, very elaborate puja. Ganpati Puja, Kalash Puja, Ashtadikapal Puja, Navagraha Puja, Satyanarayan Bhagwan, Ishtadeva Puja. That's very detailed. So much time is spent in chanting these Vedic verses. After that, we have Dhartima Puja, Matikor, where the mothers, the ladies, they begin the first puja on that evening. Done usually a couple of days before the wedding. They would dig the dirt, the soil. They would do puja on it. They'll bring that soil to purify the home. A stamba will be placed, a bamboo will be placed with other things. All of this is called the purification process. Matikor, not to go into too much depth, but it is related to, in our tradition, what is called the Panchabhut Aradhana. Panchabhut Aradhana is when one purifies oneself with the 5 elements. So during the Matikor process, purification is done with the 5 elements, right? So anyways, that is done, the place becomes so consecrated, so high in energy. The devatas are invited. The Panditji would chant the mantras to bring Indra, Vayu, Agni, all of them, Shiva, Brahma, to stay in that place. They would create a place called a Kohavar, where that place, nobody external of the family goes there other than the bride-to-be or groom-to-be, because it is so sacred. I remember as a child growing up, it was the Matikor night. From that time where that Matikor is done onto the mandap, no one could go there because it was so sacred. Puja was done there. The energies are very high. Puja was done there. So nobody goes there until everything is finished. Then after the Matikor, what happens? The wedding day comes. The wedding day is such a very, detailed process one has to go through. We were always accused of having too long Hindu weddings, but they are necessary, and Hindu weddings can be done in short time, it can be done in long time, depending on what kind of ceremonies you're doing. Our dharma is practiced based on Deshriti, on the country we live in, on the time we live in, Kalariti, and on the situation as well. So on the wedding day, so many beautiful, religious, spiritual things happen, where we have the Bharat Milap. Mantras are chanted so that the fathers of the bride and the groom, the father, embrace each other. Dulaha is welcomed. There is usually, depending on the country you're living in, they will do a Dwar Puja to Bhagwan Ganesha. Before I enter the doors or the gates, I'll do this Dwar Puja to ask Ganesha for his protection. Depending on the country as well and the time, at least some Ganpati Pratna is offered before the entry is made. Then we go to Janvas. We go to Janvas, which is a place of resting. The Dulha recuperates because of travel and everything, and is offered some snacks at that place with other Bharat members. Mantras are chanted. No, mantras are chanted. Vedic hymns are chanted. When we go to the Bharat, there are prayers designed to ensure that that environment is preserved. This is a highly religious ceremony. After Bharat and everything happens, Milap and so on, Janvas, bride enters, Dulahin enters. Kanya Puja is done to Bhagwan Ganesha, and so on. Kalash Puja and so on is done. Then bride leaves, Dulahan leaves, Dulaha comes in. You have Var Puja. When Var Puja is done, Purush Shuktam is chanted, my friends. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. Or Narayan Suktam is chanted. Sahasra Shirsham Devam Vishwaksham Vishwasham Bhuvam Vishwam Narayanam Devam Aksharam Paramam Padam. All of this is chanted to ensure that the Dulaha is no other John or Peter or Ram. The Dulaha is that day Bhagwan Ram or Bhagwan Vishnu or Bhagwan Shivji. We sing so many beautiful songs, or the songs should be sung during the wedding ceremony. Are Raja Janak ji ke dware Ram Dulaha ban ke aaye. You know, so we ensure that the Dulaha becomes Ram and the Dulahin becomes Sita. Sri Suktam and so on is chanted. All of that is done to bring two people together. Before Kanyadan is done, depending on if it's a traditional wedding, they have something called a Shakochar, where they call the names of the lineage of people and so on in the family. My friends, these are all things done to make the Hindu ceremony a very purposeful one and a very productive one. Then all the steps go, they go around the fire, you know, Dulhan comes in back, there's Kanyadan, Gat Bandhan, Agni Puja is done, Saptapadi, Bhavar rather than Saptapadi, Sadhavachan, Mangalacharan, all these things are done. All these are high Vedic mantras are chanted. Then what happened at the end of the wedding ceremony, we have the Mangalacharan, where blessings from the ancestors and blessings from the parents happen. Vedic mantras are chanted. Religious songs are sung. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not funny. There has to be fun, but this is not a funny process. This is a highly charged environment. And after doing all of that, the reason why I'm talking to you today is after doing all of that, today, not in all, but in most cases, what happened? When that area is consecrated, then the area now becomes desecrated. And that is what we're going to talk about now. So 1 week of consecration has happened. Mantras have been chanted. The wedding is over. Mangalacharan is done. And what happens now, in most cases, the trend now is that there is a party right on the mandap where all this consecration, these Vedic prayers were done. I have seen this and I am extremely disappointed. But I have to assume that one doesn't know that you're doing something wrong. Hence, this video. What is the trend today? There is on the mandap itself where the pujas were done, the Dulaha and the Dulahin, who are Ram and Sita, have now become dancers on that mandap itself. The most popular thing right now is something called wine dong. In our Hindu wedding ceremony, where there is some singer singing some song that has no meaning or no relevance to the wedding ceremony itself, but has some kind of masala to our ears, and everybody starts to dance, and the very Ram and Sita, who had just gotten married, have now become dancers to the meaningless songs that are sung that desecrates the whole Hindu process. It is nothing but desecration. Why am I talking about this? It is very hurtful because our ancestors have worked tremendously hard to ensure that our traditions are preserved in a very pure way. all the sacrifices that were made, the prayers, the pujas, and everything that has happened up to this point goes to waste when you do something like that. Do you honestly think that when you have invoked Ganesha, Varundev, Ashtadikpal, Navagraha, Vishnu Bhagavan, Mahalakshmi, Shivaji, Parvati, and all of them in that Hindu Vivah Sanskar, the wedding ceremony, that they are going to sit there and they're going to bless that Dulaha and Dulahin, and they're going to enjoy the vulgarity of the dancing and the senseless singing that happens? It is total senseless. Then there is the wind down, where a bride and a groom, a Dulaha and Dulahin, has to wind down, and everybody claps. And everybody is enjoying themselves because it seems fun. A Hindu wedding ceremony is not a joke. And if we think it is a joke, we have to change our mentality. Now, there has to be fun. There's a lot of fun. Please don't think that Pandit Hardat is telling you a Hindu wedding ceremony is something boring where you have to go sit like this. And no, it is fun. It is made to be fun. There is tasa. There is music. Everything has a time and a place. In a traditional Hindu wedding, you know, in a traditional Hindu wedding, where if you want the real things to happen, in the wedding ceremonies, there are certain songs to be sung. Aaj Janakpur Mangal Chaude se Mangal hai. Huh? Mangal songs, auspicious songs are sung that suits the ceremony when they are going around the fire. Pehle bhavar more ghume re ho Sita. As she goes around, the first time she belongs to somebody, the second time she belongs to somebody, the seventh time she now belongs to the Dulaha. And while it is happening, Vedic mantras are chanted as well. In every step of the way, there are Vedic mantras chanted, Vedic mantras are chanting, Vedic mantras are chanting. Right? So many beautiful songs are sung. Aaj Mithila Nagariya Nihal Sakhiya Charo Dulaha se Bir ka Kamal. 4 Dulahas have come. This is when we do Ramayana Katha, we sing these songs. Jai Mala Siya Jai Mala Siya Dale Ram Gale Jai Mala. Right? All these beautiful soothing songs. Jai Mala Pehnavo Jai Mala, Jai Mala Pehnavo Jai Mala. They are created in a way to complement this beautiful auspicious ceremony. Only afterwards for it to be desecrated by the senseless, by the dirty things that happen. And I say that with profound sadness, because it is what is happening. Let me go to this level to tell you that if at all you have a desire to do a wedding and to have that wind down afterwards, then you can just skip everything. You can skip the Nandi Shraddh, Satyanarayan Katha, you can skip Mati Kor, you can skip the wedding ceremony and just go straight to the wind down, because what happens? All that is unnecessary, all that is desecrated, all that is washed away when you engage in an activity like that. Let me further explain to you what happens after the wedding ceremony. Do you remember there was a time when a couple gets married and there was a thing called Second Sunday? I don't know if you remember that. Now what that means is that after the couple gets married, Dulaha Dulahin gets married, they're not allowed, or they're not allowed, they are kept away from each other physically for a week. Do you know why that happens? It is because they have gone through a rigorous week of penance and prayers. A rigorous week of penance and prayers and cleansing. The body is so holy and charged with energy that there is 1 week extra after the wedding that is given to them to isolate, to allow those energies to go away, to cut off the kangan from the hand, to allow the body to those energies to go, and then togetherness happens. That was why in those very, very traditional families and old time, you had those things happening. Now, I cannot force you or I cannot comment on the lifestyle that people live because it is your choice. But I'm just telling you, this is the meaning of why those things were done. Because our ancestors, they had respect and value for the traditions. Every day, my friends, we practice traditions. There is this saying that, you know, we have outdated traditions, and we do have some outdated traditions, some of them that have no meaning. But then there are those that are meant to help us grow and to help us blossom as human beings. Where now can you tell a Dulahan, Dulahin that you have to have second Sunday? No. You cannot make such or give such advices to people these days, because you know that is not the lifestyle people live. Carl, time has changed. At least if that is not respected, let us give respect to the ceremony itself. My dear friends, I hope that you will take these words not as an insult, but as a wake-up call to show appreciation to our Hindu Viva Sanskar. It is a ceremony of prayer. It is puja. Vedic prayers are chanted. Please take the steps to ensure that the lives of the people you bring together are preserved in a proper way. These are lives we're talking about. May we take the necessary steps to make sure that when we do a Hindu wedding ceremony, there is celebration, but then may it be appropriate. Thank you very much. May Bhagwan bless all of you. Namaste.